Time to get rid of the time wasters. Aren't you just fed up of those customers that waste your time? They ring you, they ask you a load of questions. You think, oh, great, this is going to be an absolutely amazing deal. And then they fail to commit. And this is something that I've experienced even myself recently. And it is so incredibly frustrating because you know that you can provide them a fantastic service and that they're going to miss out if they don't make the most of that opportunity, but yet whether they have no genuine intention of actually buying from you, they don't have necessarily the funds to actually proceed, or whether they just want to do it for the hell of it, who knows? But unfortunately, this is something that I come across time and time again. And there are sometimes those time wasters that actually they do commit, but you wish you'd never actually started working with them in the first place. There's those as well, right? And there is one key solution. And even this is something that I'm still fine-tuning in my own business. And that there's actually two things. One, who's your target audience and your ideal client? If you don't know who that is, you're just going to attract anyone and anything, and they're not necessarily going to be the type of people that you actually want to deal with. Number two, your marketing message, right? Your marketing message needs to resonate with your ideal client and your target audience. What it should do is it only resonates with them and excludes the people that you don't want to work with. By getting those two things right, I can guarantee you will start to filter out those time-wasting customers. I've had enough of them. I had one recently, and I've got to be a little bit careful here in terms of what I say. But I had one who wanted a project piece of work done, and I quoted, because I know that the type of project work that this is, I do it in a lot of detail, and I mean a lot of detail. And I've had confirmations from accountants, from financial advisors that this particular document that I do is literally at the high end, and therefore I know that what this document would actually ultimately achieve, it would be achieved with what they wanted. But because they weren't prepared and they did not understand the value of what that actual document would provide, they basically turned around and said they couldn't justify it. Now, the way that I looked at it at the time, as much as it was frustrating because I'd spent a lot of time, I'd given a lot of guidance free of charge, right? And I actually thought, you know what, I'm relieved that I've not got this client. And the reason why I'm relieved is they're not within my ideal client category. They're not my target audience. So yes, of course, the cash would be nice into the business. And that, I think, is one of the driving forces why so many business owners will take on clients that they wish they hadn't, is because they will get cash from it. And cash is then the driving force behind it. Do not let cash be the driving force, because trust me, it will cost you more in the long run to take on that type of client, because it will cost you in terms of time, where you could actually be one, marketing to your ideal clients, and two, actually servicing your ideal clients. So if, generally speaking, that you get alarm bells, you get those red flags early on, walk away. Don't deal with the time wasters. Unfortunately, it's not quite so easy to deal with time wasters when it comes to people in the rest of your life. The only thing in which you can do is, if they are a time waster, then cut them loose. In the same way in business, if you've got a customer that you do not want to be working with and that they are causing you more hassle than what it is worth, cut them loose. And do exactly the same if you've got people like that are wasting your time in your life. And I know this is a bit of a cutthroat video, but this is something that I feel like I've got to be direct on, I've got to be blunt on, because ultimately, we are heading towards a recession and life is going to get tougher. And the only way in which we get through these things is by being positive and actually looking at your business and seeing, what are the things that I can change? What are the things that I can actually get rid of to make sure that this business runs as efficiently and effectively and ultimately as profitably as possible? And sometimes that means cutting customers loose. It may be cutting staff loose that are literally pulling the business down. Sometimes you do have to be ruthless, because ultimately you've got to be able to not just survive this, but thrive in it. And sometimes you have to make those very hard decisions to do it. So, hot tip for today: if they're a time waster, cut them loose and do not do the work for people who are not your ideal client or ideal or target audience. Thanks for listening, guys. And if you know what you've got to do, if you want some help in making sure that you've got your ideal client and you're working with the right target audience and you've nailed that marketing message, then just please put business review in the comments and we can get you booked in. Thanks, guys, for listening. I hope you have a fantastic Thursday.